Hello everybody, it's AJ, Pushback Darkness. Just doing some recording in the studio today. I'll swing around, you can see all the fun stuff there. So there it is, yep. So wanted to talk to you today about whether or not children who pass away, whether or not they go to be with the Lord or not. Now, we would think that would be an easy, just bam, of course they do. And I would say, yeah, you're correct. Of course they do. But we also want to be able to offer people a understanding that's biblically based as well. Not just, of course they do. And how do we do that? We jump into the Word. So today I wanted to do a couple things. We're going to jump into the Word. I'm going to give you a few things that maybe if this situation comes up, maybe you'll never go through it. And I hope that's the case. My wife and I, we ended up having a loss of a child while my wife was pregnant. And that was probably one of the most excruciating things, one of the most painful things that we had ever gone through, I think, as a family. And for us at the time, it would have been great for somebody to have given us these verses, given us this kind of encouragement. Of course, the body of Christ is always encouraging. They're always loving. There's things that they do that, lift people up, but we want to make sure that we are also being biblically based. So I'm going to give you some verses. It could be something you can use just to encourage somebody. So let's check this out. So if somebody ever had an issue like that, one of the things that you could do is you could tell them or show them Matthew 19:14. It says, "But Jesus said, 'Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven.'" This verse indicates that the kingdom of heaven belongs to children, suggesting that, they are included in God's grace. And 2 Samuel 12:23 says, "But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again?" And this is probably one of the biggest verses that shows that even David knew that we would be reunited with people that had passed, and especially children. Because as it continues on in verse 23, it says, "I shall go to him, but he will not return to me." There's this realization that David has that he's going to be with his son someday, and his son won't come back to him the way things are, but he'll be with him. So that's an awesome verse to give some people as well. And then the next one would be Deuteronomy 1:39. So it says, "And as for your little ones, who today have no knowledge of good and evil, they shall go in there. And to them I will give it, and they shall possess the land." So this was a verse that's pretty telling, but you kind of have to understand and look into the story a little bit. The story was that the children of Israel were being judged because they had thought they weren't able to go into the land and take it over from the giants and from the people that were there. So they were punished. And what happened is God was saying basically that what I'm going to do is, because these little children, it says specifically, have no knowledge of good and evil. So I think that's one of the things too, is to understand that children up to a certain age don't understand good and evil yet. And so there's this grace that covers them. And so if anything were to happen to them before this time, God's grace would cover them, and they would be with him instantly without having to make a decision for Christ. So the next one would be Matthew 18:10. And it says, "See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels see the face of my Father who is in heaven." Their angels always see my Father's face, which is crazy to sit and think about. Wait a minute. So every single child has an angel that basically intercedes for them and stands before the throne of God. Either that, you sit there and you think, okay, do I believe the whole word, or do I think there's things in it that were just picturesque? It's like, no, Jesus is being very specific. He's saying that these kids, their angels, stand before the Father. So again, it's just saying how important these kids are to God. And, there's nothing in there that said, if they don't choose me, then they don't even get an angel. It's like, no, they automatically have an angel standing in front of the Father. And so one of the things that I wanted to look at too is in Romans 5:13. And this is in the ESV. So it says, ESV version, it says, "Sin is not counted where there is no law." So up to an age of understanding, again, sin is not counted against someone. In summing up this video, the great thing that God has done is he's created an environment in church that really resembles family. For people that have gone through traumatic situations, for us to be able to stand next to them, knowing the Word, knowing the truth, and being able to support them as they go through things, that is a huge benefit. We want to be able to supply them with truth and give them the Word, but sometimes they just need us to stand with them, and sometimes they just need us to listen. So I appreciate you watching the video today. Be encouraged. Go out there and love on people, and hopefully this video today may have made an impact. And if you bring it to somebody and share it in love, I know that'll bring an impact as you minister gospel and stand with people that have been through heartache. Have a blessed day.